The grand stage of America's Got Talent was glowing under thousands of spotlights, but for one small boy from Davao City, Philippines, the lights felt heavier than ever. Dressed in a simple white shirt and dark jeans, he clutched the microphone with both hands as if it were his lifeline. The audience, curious but unsure, leaned forward in their seats. Simon Cowell adjusted his posture, his eyes narrowing as he studied the young contestant. Everyone knew Simon was notoriously hard to impress, especially when a child came forward with such a daring song choice. When asked about his performance, the boy softly said, "I will sing a Coldplay medley. It's my dream to bring this to AGT." The judges reacted with polite smiles, but one could sense their skepticism. Coldplay songs demand range, emotion, and confidence, qualities often hard to find in someone so young. As the opening instrumental track began, his voice trembled on the first few notes, almost drowned by the silence of the massive theater. Some audience members exchanged doubtful glances. But in that nervous tremble, there was a raw honesty that slowly started pulling people in. His eyes were closed, his expression tender, as if he wasn't just singing but living through every lyric. The first verse passed, and his voice steadied, resonating with a quiet strength that commanded attention. By the end of the first song section, the audience had fallen into complete silence, not out of disinterest but out of awe. They could sense something unexpected was about to unfold. A transformation was coming, and the boy from Davao City was just beginning to reveal his magic. Halfway through, as the medley shifted to a more upbeat and anthemic Coldplay song, everything changed. The boy's voice grew louder, steadier, and more powerful. It was as if all his fear had dissolved into determination. Each note soared with breathtaking precision, echoing through the arena. He moved with the music, his body no longer stiff but swaying with natural rhythm, showing he wasn't just singing, he was performing. The big LED screens behind him lit up with cosmic visuals, galaxies, stars, and bursts of color that matched the grandeur of the music. The energy in the room shifted instantly. People who were doubtful a few minutes ago were now standing, clapping in rhythm, swept away by the boy's delivery. Heidi covered her mouth in disbelief. Sophia whispered something to Howie, who only smiled and shook his head, as if saying, "Can you believe this?" Simon, usually the most difficult to impress, leaned forward on the judges' table, his expression softening from skepticism to admiration. His eyes seemed to silently admit, "This kid is special." As the medley built toward its climax, the boy hit a soaring high note, holding it with such control and emotion that the audience erupted. The applause thundered through the theater, drowning out the backing track for a moment. Some people had tears in their eyes. The boy, now fully immersed, gave everything he had into the final part of the medley, his voice radiating passion and strength far beyond his years. By the last line, there was no doubt left. He hadn't just sung Coldplay, he had owned the stage, turned it into his personal concert, and captivated every soul in the room. When the final note faded, the boy stood frozen. His chest rose and fell quickly as he tried to catch his breath. For a moment, there was silence, then an eruption of applause that shook the entire auditorium. The audience was on their feet, cheering and chanting. Some waved their arms in the air like they were at a Coldplay stadium concert. The judges rose one by one in a standing ovation. Heidi clapped with a huge smile, Sophia shouted, "Bravo!" and Howie pointed to the boy with admiration. Simon, however, stayed seated for a moment, letting the anticipation build. Finally, he leaned forward, his voice calm yet full of weight. "You just turned this stage into your stage. That wasn't just good, it was incredible." The boy's eyes widened, tears glistening as he covered his mouth with trembling hands. The audience grew louder, sensing what was coming. Simon glanced at his fellow judges, then back at the boy. With a slow, deliberate motion, he reached toward the golden button in front of him. The boy gasped, shaking his head as if he couldn't believe what was about to happen. Simon pressed the golden buzzer, and instantly, the theater exploded. Golden confetti shot from the ceiling, raining down like a dream. The boy fell to his knees, overcome with emotion, tears streaming down his cheeks. His journey from the streets of Davao City to the global AGT stage was now crowned with the ultimate recognition. The crowd chanted his name, and the boy's face lit up with the realization, this was the beginning of something extraordinary. He had stunned Simon Cowell, captured the world's heart, and secured his place in AGT history.